Everybody, I'm Jay Sparks. I'm probably the biggest nerd you'll ever meet, just being really honest with you. And that I spend a lot of time reading, and I love AI. I love DeFi. I love crypto. I love all those things. So it stands for decentralized finance, and we're going to go deep into that here in a little bit. And it's a lot of fun, I promise. But what AJ doesn't know is I tacked on a little nugget of truth at the very end, which is identity, right? Everything that you're hearing about today has to have a root in identity, and it's probably the most important thing for our national security, for society moving forward. And we're going to touch lightly on it because I don't want to scare you as well as send you down a rabbit hole. So let's start. So this is SocialFi, where AI, DeFi, and social media intersect. And I fielded a few questions before we started, and all three of these things I'm about to talk about are completely necessary to interact with one another going forward. What we're going to learn today, we're going to talk about AI in this world of social media. We're going to talk about SocialFi, and we're going to talk about digital identity. If I have enough time, I'm going to try to go as deep as possible in that as time permits. All right. So AI is a tool that will enable us to communicate a vision better. All right. And so at the beginning of our class, we talked about the fear of AI interfering with that, right? And it's my belief that AI is going to enable you to tell and communicate your vision, whether it be on social media or in media products itself. It's going to allow you to do it better, right? Instead of having fear towards AI, I say embrace it, right? And add it into your tool set to help you do your job better. And as a matter of fact, I do this every day. And a small little example before I push forward is I'm a coder. I'm a developer for the company I work at with AJ. I build a lot of social media tools. Instead of shifting away from AI, I literally use ChatGPT to help me write code more efficient and faster. So something to think about. And for anything you can imagine, there's an AI for that. And when I say there's an AI, I mean that literally. There's a website that you can go to right now, right? There's an AI for that.com, and you can explore all the emerging AI tools that are coming out, and it's coming out daily, literally daily. And before I came here today, as you can see, I'm real nerd about having presentations. It's like, is there anything that's social media relevant that I could talk about today, specifically for this class? And there's a funny tweet generator. And I said, I'm giving a talk tonight at a college class about the intersection of AI, crypto, and digital identity. And it translated, spit this out, didn't do anything, just hit submit. And it generated, I'm about to blow minds tonight at a college class merging the matrix with magic money and a wild talk about AI, crypto, and digital identity. Prepare to have your reality encrypted. It's like, oh man, that's pretty good, right? It's pretty fun. That's fine. So basically what I'm trying to say is AI's here and you can use these tools to help make your stuff better. Yes, AJ.
You think Wendy's is using this?
I think they're just doing it off the cuff. They're incredible. As a matter of fact, I would argue, and I'm glad you actually asked that question, I would argue that this tool was trained off of Wendy's tweets. They're using that in their language model to help generate what you're seeing right here. So before we push forward, right?
Too real.
So I like to have a through line, right? Is that, a lot of people are afraid of AI, right? Remember the strike. We have this image right here. AI has no soul. AI is not art. AI didn't write this sign, right? And the reason why people are pushing back on this is because they're afraid of it. And they should be, right? And when I say they should be afraid of it, I mainly mean that they should put some safeguards in terms of the unions to protect workers and protect their art, and make sure at the beginning of this I said AI is a tool that will help you communicate your vision better. So at the end of the day is how can we protect our vision, right? And AI is an excuse or a vehicle to limit as much vision as you're willing to give, right? So if you want to give away all of your vision, rely on AI. But if you don't want to do that, try to inject as more of yourself as you can, right? So that's where we're at today with AI. And to some doom and gloom stuff. I promised we would talk about some doom and gloom stuff. Here's some doom and gloom stuff, right? Now, whenever AI was going mainstream, everybody was starting to learn about it and how it was going to affect the industry. One thing that came up that was really scary was that they were talking about, the studios being they, replacing background actors with AI, literally capturing and scanning them, and then basically saying, we're going to keep your identity forever. We're going to be able to monetize your likeness, put it in movies, put it in social media posts, and you're not going to be compensated for that. It's very scary stuff, right? And they talked about it here. It was all over the news on The Verge. It was hitting all the mainstream sites. And everybody thought this was what was going to happen. The machines would win, right? This is one from my favorite movie. This is like Terminator 2. AI has just nuked the planet, right? And that's what everybody believed was going to happen to the entertainment industry. But thankfully, we won, right? We won. We beat the machines for now. Like the union stepped up and they said, hey, guess what? We're going to put protections for you. If you're going to use, AI in any of your work, you can't give credit to the AI. It has to go to a writer. And if you're going to replace someone using AI, you have to compensate those people, right? So there's protections. In my opinion, they didn't go far enough. AJ, I'm sure, has talked about it. And we probably, oh, you haven't talked about it.
It's only our second week.
Oh, wow, second week. Well, she will talk about, trust me, we've nerded out on before, and it's actually a really great subject matter.
By the way, I'm just interrupting. T2 is one of your favorite movies.
Yes.
The producer is one of my clients.
Well, I'm going to buy him some coffee, all right? Let's go. All right, well, anyway, so we talked about this, doom and gloom. AI influencers are here. They're here right now, it's happening, and they are making money, right? This AI created human right now is actually doing quite well. They're getting brand deals. I read a report that I think they did an $11,000 brand deal the other day. All right, here's a couple of the profiles you can see right here. This person, AI bot, has 2.6 million followers. This AI bot has 266K followers. Oh, you follow this one right here? Yeah. So you're aware. You're seeing what's happening out in the space right now. Okay. And my favorite story that didn't really get picked up that much was there's this guy that was using a face swap app and pretending to be this biker lady right here and doing quite well on Twitter. I mean, he generated 42.1 thousand followers and was actually doing pretty well in his market. He was actually doing brand deals and stuff. It was quite the scandal when it was revealed that it was really this guy right here. So one of my favorite catfishing stories of the modern age. And what I'm trying to say is you're going to start seeing this pop up more and more and more and more. And so your job as a marketer, once again, it's not to shy away from these tools. It's to embrace them and to help you tell your vision better. So if you want to work with a brand, how can you generate an AI person or avatar or whatever? But take inspiration from the world around you to help execute your vision. Because remember, your job is to communicate your vision, and the more you give away, the more it's relying on AI. So just some examples of that. So how's this being done? It's being done with tools like Midjourney. The show of hands, who knows what Midjourney is? 1, 2. Okay, that's fine. I'm happy, I'm excited. I get to nerd out with you guys. That's why I'm here, all right? So Midjourney is essentially where you input text using a prompt. And I'm gonna give you a secret sauce. This is where you're definitely going to get your camera out and take a picture of this because I'm about to show you like the hack of all hacks.
I can also, if it's all right with you, Jace, I can put this.
I will give you whatever you want, whatever you want. But essentially you put text into a device and it outputs an image. And it's literally magic, all right? So here's the secret sauce, right? So let's say you wanted to do a clown eating ice cream. That's what I always do, and I'll show you an example of that in a second. You do a clown eating ice cream, and then you put whatever this crazy jumble of text is behind it, and it will generate a very lifelike image for you. And so what I'll show you real quick is I'm gonna exit out of here real quick. And here's my clown eating ice cream, right there. That is an AI-generated image. It came directly from my text prompt. And so that's probably a little scary. I heard a little like back there. You don't like clowns, that's fine. I understand. Exactly. So what you prompt the machine to do, it will read it back to you exactly how it interprets it. And then you can change it, you can recycle it, you can say, run another iteration of it, but that's not exactly what I want. And then it'll spit something out for you. So I'm gonna show you a very real project that I did for another talk. I do talks like this all the time about AI and stuff. And I basically made a commercial about a kid who had dreamed to become an astronaut, right? And here's some images I generated of that kid growing up, becoming an astronaut, and just giving it some basic, simple prompts. And there's this room growing up, and I'll just cycle through these real quick, because you get the idea. So I'm gonna get to more crazy stuff, right? Images are fine, but what if you could start doing things with voice? What if you could start doing things with video? That's where AI starts to really come into play and starts to affect what we're doing today. And what I'm about to show you is a bleeding edge technology called 11 Labs, where it's synthesizing voice from text and it allows you to create voiceovers, really like real voiceovers. And so what I'm gonna do real quick is we're gonna have a live demo of how this works. This is text I copied from GPT right here. I just told it to write a basic script of a commercial, right? And once again, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but we'll try. I'm generating the text. This is in real time. This isn't canned. Let's see if this works.
Indulge in pure delight. Introducing our creamy, dreamy ice cream. Perfectly crafted for those sunny days in the park with friends and family. Choose from a rainbow of flavors that'll satisfy your sweet cravings. Watch the smiles bloom as kids of all ages savor every bite. Come on down and cool off with our scrumptious ice cream treats. Treat yourself today. Visit us in Houston, Texas, or call us at 555-2300. Because life's better with a scoop of happiness. Indulge.
So that's pretty cool, right? And you're like, well, Jace, like that's a pre-canned voice and all this other stuff. So what I did is a couple like months ago is I decided to get like really crafty with it and see if I could do like even more crazy things. And actually what I'll do, because I know I'll have trouble finding it, is I generated a voice using my voice, put it in. I want to see if I could clone my voice, right? And so I made this voice right here called, let's see if I can find it, Techno Bro Cali, because I'm a techno bro, right? So I think this is one that I just recorded without a really good mic, but let's see how it sounds.
Indulge in pure delight. Introducing our creamy, dreamy ice cream. Perfectly crafted for those sunny days.
Okay, you get it. Now, if I recorded that with a better microphone, it would have that really thick tonality. It would sound really great, like it was a professional voiceover. So if I recorded in this mic, it might sound a lot better than that tinny thing that you just heard. So we're gonna move on. All right, so we're now getting into social-fi, all right? We talked about AI, we're talking about social-fi. We're moving the needle, we're trying to thread and have a through line. This is a social media class, so let's talk about that, right? So what is social-fi? Let me go forward. Social-fi platforms combine the principles of social media and decentralized finance. All right, presenting a Web3 decentralized approach for establishing, overseeing, and owning social media platforms and the content generated by participants. What this basically means, right, that you don't own your data when you use social media. At the end of the day, right, if you go to Facebook, like, what's that saying that you always hear? If the product's free, you're the product, right? And so we're now drifting into a more wide awareness of that concept. And us as consumers are pushing back against it. And AJ provided a great example. She was talking about politics, and I'm very politically neutral. But you may remember an instance, I think it was 2015, it was 2015, Cambridge Analytica. Does everybody remember that? What happened? Not familiar? Well, I'll give you a little summary. Well, what happened was Facebook was essentially gamified to extract user information to be highly targeted that we're going to push Donald Trump as the person that we want to be elected. All right? This isn't a conspiracy. This really happened. Facebook was on Congress. They admitted it. Once again, politically neutral. But basically, for the first time, we realized that you could game social media by taking data and pushing it any direction that you wanted. And that's actually what put a lot of safeguards in place today. All right? So let's take a beat. I said DeFi, and some of you asked, like, what is DeFi? DeFi stands for decentralized finance, and most people think cryptocurrency. More specifically, they think Bitcoin, right? I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, which for some people in here, statistically, someone in this room holds crypto. And there's Bitcoin and there's crypto, all right? Bitcoin and crypto are not the same. They're separate. Most people think they're the same, but they're not, all right? But would you know that when everybody thinks of crypto, they think this, they think rocket ship, I'm going to the moon, I'm going to make all this money, right? And I'm going to be the first to tell you, just be careful. If you don't know who this is, everybody know who this is? Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah, he was just rung up, charged for fraud, probably the biggest fraud in history. I actually don't know off the top of my head, but I know it was bigger than Madoff. If you know who Madoff is, bigger than that, this guy's going to spend a lot of time in prison because he basically lied about his financials. Very, very, very young. All right, so as of November 2023, there are over 10,000 cryptocurrencies out there in the market. And roughly there's 8,000 that are actually alive right now, but 10,000 is the number that you'll see all like tossed around. Now, hardly any of these are going to make you money, so like don't think that, oh, there's a meme coin, I'm going to invest in it, I'm going to become a millionaire. It won't happen. All right? And the market trades just like the stock market does. You can go to this website. This is called coinmarketcap.com, and you'll see all the top crypto projects that are trading at all times. Crypto trades 24/7, unlike the stock market, which has a finite amount of time it trades during Monday through Friday. All right, so we're gonna get more into DeFi. Like here's some basic bank math for you, right? And this is what makes cryptocurrency attractive. And I promise we're gonna get back to SocialFi in a second, but I find this to be very important, right? So when you put your money in a bank, which almost all of you do, right? You get interest on your money, right? Some of the more notable, like common banks, Wells Fargo and Bank of America, you get 0.01% interest on the money that you put in your bank, all right? And what makes DeFi attractive to people is the yield that you can get off your money inside DeFi. So this right here is a stablecoin pair. We'll stay away from this one because it's really complicated. But these are two stablecoins right here, DAI, USDC. A stablecoin is basically pegged to fiat, the US dollar. So by holding US dollars inside your DeFi account, you can generate 11.33% versus a 0.01%. And that's what makes it attractive to people. Once again, this is not financial advice. I do not recommend this. I'm just giving you awareness of why people are doing it. So we talked about Facebook. All right, now I'm coming back to social media. I gave you some numbers, kind of boring, I know, but I promise I'm bringing it home right here. You're the product. Now, in Q3 of 2023, everybody in this room was worth $56.11. You were generating $56.11 for Facebook. Think about that for a second. And this is where like people are starting to get mad once they start tapping into this. Did any of you see a single penny of that money? No, right? You're making money for these companies and you're providing the data. So now we're going to bring it back. SocialFi, and this is where the world's going, is going to give power back to consumers. All right, it's going to tokenize your data and allow you to be a profit participant as well as give you almost like an ownership of the platform itself, right? So reward coins will empower content creators, providing them with a direct and transparent way to monetize their work, right? Now we see things like this in Web 2. Web 2 is like legacy web, like Patreon. You know, you can get tips directly to you. OnlyFans, get tips directly to you. Well, this is in a way that is more frictionless. So what people don't know is on these platforms that I just mentioned, Patreon and OnlyFans, is that there's still a lot of friction, what we call liquidity friction. Meaning that if you go to any restaurant, any store, you swipe your credit card, there's a fee associated with that, right? It's a 2% fee, 3% fee. It's usually passed on to the retailer, right? Well, in DeFi and SocialFi, that friction's gone because it's feeless. It's transaction on every single transaction. So you're getting more profit for utilizing these systems, all right? The next thing is this SocialFi is going to enable microtransactions. Now, with something that is a microtransaction where you're generating pennies, literally for a like. Let's say you hit a like, you get a penny for that like. This now makes it feasible for you to generate that payment, that revenue, in real time. So this is generating streaming payments. Reward coins, similar to OnlyFans and all the other legacy platforms. If you're a person that's watching content on someone's platform, you should be rewarded for that, right? Let's say that you're really into this creator and you want to buy their hoodie, all right? But you're spending all the time on their page watching their content. Maybe by doing that, you get reward points to unlock a 10% discount. So rewards are going to become more and more prominent on these platforms. And lastly, what we talked about earlier, Cambridge Analytica example, is SocialFi puts you in control of your data. And so what you're going to start seeing, and it's already starting to happen, very small, but it's going to start happening very soon, is you're going to be able to opt in or opt out of submitting your data for a monetary reward. All right, you're going to start seeing that pretty soon. All right, this is where, yes?
What you just said is, so those financial incentives for using the site, does that come from the platform? Does that come from, say, the influencer who you want to buy that sweatshirt from?
All right, so I'm going to tap into what AJ was talking about a second ago. She was talking about check marks, right? Let's use that as an example. Platforms are now instigating that new revenue stream to generate more revenue for the platform. So what's going to happen, and it's already happening on X, right? It happens on YouTube already. They're going to start putting pre-roll, mid-roll, and post-roll ads on the actual videos itself that are now on X. So basically what I'm saying is all these social media companies now have to generate more revenue through different revenue streams. TikTok has a shop. I think you're the one that brought up the shop, right? Instagram has a shop. And so social media isn't just about posts anymore. It's not just about video. It's not just about tweets. It's literally a whole ecosystem that's gamified to get you to put more and more money in or to take more of your time that will generate more ad revenue. And as more of these services, these microservices come into the economy, you don't have to be in the past, you had to be like a 10% margin, right? All they're fighting for now is literally percentage, like small percentages, 1% margin, 2% margin. So if they have a 2% margin on one part of the business, 2% margin on another part of the business, you're now starting to grow into a higher margin holistically across the whole creator economy. And so that's why it's important to have multi-revenue streams, and AJ was dead on that. So coming back to incumbents are struggling, and I'm very passionate about this. This came out 4 days ago, is Twitch, literally, and as a CEO, you never do this, admitted that the company is not profitable. This is one of the biggest social media companies on the planet coming and telling you directly that the company is not profitable. That's insane. And he's also saying that we laid off 500 people. He laid off 500 people and it's still not profitable, all right? X, AJ talked about this. 75 million revenue, more, they lost 75 million based on advertisers pulling out. That's not great. The company is not profitable. Facebook, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. You'll see it in their stock price. The reason why they're in trouble is they're not offering new services, the ability to generate more revenue through these microservices we just talked about. So this brings it all to the very end, which is identity, okay? And I'll admit, I rushed through this because like I could literally spend, if she let me, I could spend a week, actually I could spend a month on every single topic I just talked about. But this is important. This is the most important thing that I think I could ever convey to anyone that would ever listen. And that's identity, all right? And we're gonna go deep on this for a second because it ties everything together, all right? Are you aware that today, right now, that you don't own your own identity? Did you know that? And I'll prove it. If you go into your wallet, you most likely have a credential, right? You have your driver's license, you have your passport, you have something like that. But here's where I'm gonna get you to really think about that. How did you get that? You had to ask permission for it. You had to submit forms to say, I am who I say I am. And then they allowed you to claim that credential, all right? Your identity, actually, if you look at the reductionist view of what identity is, it's your biometrics. It is your face, it is your unique piece of carbon, it is you. It is uniquely you. It is not the ID in your wallet. All right? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is it actually directly ties to social media. So we're going to rewind to something that AJ was talking about, right? She was talking about the election, right? And how essentially, people were being pushed towards certain candidates. I kind of touched on it as well. That happened, all right? And this is politically neutral because I really don't care, but I love reading, right? And I read the Mueller report. I just wanted to read it. And there's direct evidence of the Internet Research Agency, that's what it was, IRA, wasn't sponsored, they were nudged to promote Trump as a candidate. And the way they did that is they created these bot farms, right? Not real people, like sock puppet accounts, all right? And the reason why I'm talking about identity so specifically right now and why it's so important is as we push forward through society and AI tools get better, right, you're gonna have the ability to generate those AI avatars we just showed you, right? You'll be able to generate more real people that have AI engines behind them that sound like real people, that can vote, they can sway governance, they can sway public opinion. And so we're now at a point in time in our humanity where we really have to focus on one person, unique identity associated with governance, and a few other things I'll talk about right now. So we talked about election governance integrity, right? And honestly, I don't care whether or not you believe the election was stolen. That doesn't matter to me. But what I will say is today we should be able to prove that. You know what I mean? Like we should be able to prove that without any doubt. Whether or not you believe it actually doesn't matter. What we should be able to do is to prove that. And the way you do that is one piece of carbon associated with one vote, all right? And that's why we have to push towards that. That's the argument for that. Human unique. This is very important. All right, human unique basically means is I have one account on Twitter, but right now I can generate 10, I can generate 20, I can generate 50 accounts by myself because I have 50 different email addresses. So human and unique is a concept of just basically saying and stating that I am one person and only one person. I only get one vote for doing what I'm doing. So you can associate that with election and governance, but mainly it's going to get into what's called a Sybil attack. And this is way too nerdy. But let's say I wanted to sway governance of a stock company, right? I could send 50,000 votes if I wanted to by creating 50,000 identities. But to prevent a Sybil attack, you do human unique. I know that's very nerdy. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to talk about it, but I'm trying to go fast as possible. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is KYC AML. Does anybody know what this means? All right, KYC means know your customer, and AML means anti-money laundering. And why am I bringing this up in a social media class? It's actually very important. And I'll tell you why it's important. Every single social media app that you all want to market for ultimately will have to have this. Ultimately. And I project that it will probably come within the next 3 to 4 years. X specifically is going to become a banking platform. Not a lot of people know about that, but it's coming, meaning that you'll be able to send transactions from one user to another. And the only way that you can do that is if it's underneath a certain threshold of amount, so less than $600, or actually everybody in here probably has Venmo. Have you ever tried to send more than $2,999 to someone? Have you ever tried to do that? It won't work. The reason why it won't work is because you're violating AML protections, all right? And so the same concept of sending money, receiving money, you still have to have those protections, even if you're a social media app. And the reason why we have that is prevent sex trafficking, terrorism, et cetera, et cetera. All right? And the last thing I'll say is self-sovereignty. And this is probably the thing I'm most passionate about. And when I talked about earlier, it's like you don't own your identity. I really, truly mean that. And I'm not trying to freak you out. I'm a patriot. I love America. It's not anything negative against that. But I do believe that when you're born, you should have that right. That's an unalienable right. You should be able to say, I am who I say I am. Give me identification. And so that's why I believe that self-sovereignty paired with human unique is going to be probably the most important thing pushing forward into the next decade. Because as these social media platforms evolve, and as more AI comes into play with these platforms, you need those two things to ensure that we're not being lied to. So that, I know it was a lot, but that is my presentation. Thank you.